So this is what we call the Windows 8 start screen. You should think of this as basically a personalized dashboard. So each one of these tiles represents a favorite app, or maybe someone that I work with a lot or communicate with a lot, maybe some of my favorite websites or something like that. And you can tell right away that these tiles are alive with information that's both relevant and timely to me. So if you look at the top left corner here, this top left file where I'm pointing, that's my mail app. And instead of just showing me a mail icon, it's actually showing me sort of new unread messages, sorry. To the right of it, you can see my calendar app, where you can see my next appointment. At the bottom right there, you can see my weather app, and instead of showing me a weather icon, it's actually showing me the weather here in Orlando, which is really nice. So at a glance, I can already tell a lot of things. Just there's a lot of information. I can just, without having to boot these apps, I can actually see a lot of things. Navigating is just as you would expect. I can flick across here, and you can see how fast and fluid this is. And you'll see this theme repeating itself all over Windows 8. You'll also see that there's no Chrome at all. There's no toolbars, no menus, or anything like that to distract you from the information that I'm actually trying to just deal with. And you'll see this in the apps that we show you. You'll see this across the design of the entire system. Of course, I can rearrange these tiles if I want. I can just drag a tile and tear it off. In fact, I can do something kind of fun here. I'm going to use my other finger, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to see how I can just swipe behind and actually move and then just drop it where I want. So that's a great example of what you could do with multi-touch. I could just drop it right back here. I can zoom out, so I'm going to do 2-finger zoom, pinch zoom here. And you can imagine if I have 100, after installing a lot of apps or something like that on my system, my start screen can get quite long. So being able to zoom out and navigate it easily is a really great way to just move around and find the things that I want. You'll notice here that things are actually organized in groups. So this gives you a good way to just kind of organize things the way you want them. The groups, in zoomed out view, I can actually just move these groups around and rearrange them if I want to. You'll see that the groups are named. So for example, I can just select one here and name one, and we'll bring up the on-screen keyboard here, which lets me name it what I want. I can actually change the keyboard configuration. This is kind of a neat one. If you're holding your tablet, you can type with your thumbs this way. So I can pick whatever keyboard combination I'm interested in. So that's how you navigate the start screen. Now what I want to do is let's go have a look at our first app here. And here's the one I'm going to show you. I'm pointing at it down here. Let me tell you a little something about this app. So this is an app that's it's called Ultimate Beer Ranger, so we love the name of it already. And it's a custom line of business app that's made by a company that's called New Belgium Beer. So they are an independent brewing company, and they sell their product to stores and restaurants and bars. And because of liquor laws, they actually have to sell through a distributor, so they can't sell directly to their real customers, if you want. But of course, one of the things that's really interesting to them is they really want to sort of maintain a relationship with these customers, even though they don't have a direct selling relationship to them. So this is kind of a classic CRM problem. And in fact, this app is built on top of Microsoft Dynamics CRM. And the New Belgium Beer Company, they've built this app for a set of folks, or a set of their employees who are called beer rangers. And their job is to actually maintain those connections with the people who buy their product, right? So, like I said, this is kind of a twist on a classic CRM thing. It's a great scenario for a tablet because it's meant to be used on the road, and it helps them just manage that process of keeping those visits. So it does things like manages their schedules and things like that, and information about all the accounts that they go visit. Let's have a look at the app. Now, before I even start it, you can tell something kind of neat about it. Let's see here. Actually, let's go back to the start screen for a second. Here we go. You can see that actually, even without booting the app or starting the app, it already gives me some useful information. It's got a list of my next 4 appointments that I can see right there on the start screen. To start it, I just tap on it like I showed you earlier, and here's a beautiful app. So what you see on the start screen of the app itself, or on the home page of the app itself, is my schedule. And you can see, again, just like the start screen, I can navigate through here. It's fast, it's fluid. I can pan across, I can zoom out. This is kind of an interesting thing. This is something we call semantic zoom. So instead of zooming out optically, what it's actually doing is it's zooming out sort of conceptually. And it's zoomed out where I have the list of days in the week. And I can just go tap on a day here, and it'll bring back up my schedule at that, for that day. Now, I can pick any one of these accounts to go drill in on it by tapping on it. And here I get sort of a rich, detailed view of that account. So things like sales, the yearly sales volume. I get some information about my contacts at at that company or at the bar or at the restaurant. I see appointments, notes, and things like that. I can go, for example, if I want to create a new appointment, I can just go tap on appointment here, and here's the calendar, and I can pick a new time. We can go back. You'll see also, I can have photos of the establishment. Maybe I can take a new photo here. This actually uses the camera. Well, that's a little frightening. It uses the camera that's on the device. I won't torture you with that photo. I can go back. It does use this. Actually, one of the things I love about this, app is, or two things I really love about this app is, first of all, it actually is beautiful. It's a beautiful line of business app. It's one of the best looking line of business apps I've seen in a long time. And the other thing is, let me show you something cool here. This actually uses the location services in Windows 8. In this case, it uses actually the GPS sensor that's on this device to actually know where I am. And then it can show me my customers, my contacts that are nearby. So that's kind of a neat use of the device. So I love the app because of that. And I love the way it actually uses the system. Let's go back here. So let's talk about another thing. I want to go back to the Start menu at this point. You'll notice there's no Chrome, like I said. In fact, there's a number of things that you might want to do that are sort of these system-wide commands. Things like going back to Start, things like switching through apps, things like searching or going to settings or something like that. So let's talk about how we've designed that. When we started working on Windows 8, we spent a lot of time thinking about how you actually even just hold one of these devices, right? And if you think of a tablet like this, I will hold it. The most natural way to hold that tablet is to just kind of hold it in your hands like this. And if you notice where my thumbs are, you'll notice that they're just sitting on the bezel of the screen. And so one of the motions that's incredibly easy to do is to just swipe with my thumbs. And you'll see how we use these swiping motions in the edge of the screen to bring up system-wide UI in general. So what I'm going to do, let me show you how this works. I'm going to swipe. Let's go back here to the schedule. I'm going to swipe from the right, and you can see out come these little widgets. We call these charms, right? And these charms let me access the system-wide things. The one that's closest to my thumb in the middle is the Start charm, and just by tapping on it, I go right back to the Start menu. So it's an incredibly natural gesture to do. If I want to switch back to the app, I just swipe from the left, and the app comes right back out, right? So from the right, here comes Start, and I can swipe back incredibly easily. Let's go back to the Start menu. Let's start some more apps. Here's my Mail app. Here's my Calendar app. Swipe back to Start. Here's maybe my Photos app. So now I've got 4 apps running, and I can just switch through them incredibly easily just by swiping from the left. See how easy that is? And it's an incredibly comfortable gesture to do when you're just sitting there with that tablet in your hands. Let me show you one more thing. Another way to switch through apps, if I just drag one out and then come back out here, this brings up something we call the switch list. So this just gives me actually a view of all my apps that are running right now, and then I could just select the one that I'm interested in and switch to it really easily that way. See how easy that is? Okay, let's talk about one other thing here. Let's switch to, actually I didn't want to do that. Let's go back to our Beer Ranger app here. Let's go find it. Here it is. You might have noticed these charms, there's a whole bunch of them. There's not just the Start charm. Let me show you another one here. This is one we call the Search charm. So let's talk a little bit about what this is. Part of what the platform enables is this concept of contracts, which are easy ways for apps to plug into system-wide commands to either talk to the system or talk to each other. One of these contracts is something we call the search contract. Any app can implement this really easily and then expose its data to system-wide search. So for example here, I can go, let's say we type Adam here, and I'll do the search. And you can see it found my one contact that has the name Adam in it. But you can see I can easily actually just go look in other apps. Here I clicked on Mail, and this finds mail items that have Adam in it. I can even go look at files, and it'll find any files that are on my system that have Adam. So super easy to do, and super easy to actually make apps. This is an example of apps just working together or working with the system to make things better. So that's kind of a view of navigating the Windows 8 UI and navigating Windows 8 using touch. But of course, I said earlier that you really don't have to compromise by using, you're not compromising by using a system that maybe only has mouse and keyboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite Linda Averitt to come out here and actually help demo the mouse and keyboard interaction. Linda actually is the Director of Program Management for our developer experience team. So her team designs basically the platform that Windows 8 apps are built on. Linda?
Thanks, Antoine. Hi, folks. So today, I'm going to start. Thank you very much. I'm going to start out demoing on a Samsung Ultrabook. So this has mouse, keyboard, and it also has something we call a modern touchpad. We've worked with the hardware partners to incorporate the key Windows 8 touch gestures into the touchpad. And in fact, many of our hardware partners showed form factors at Computex last week that had the touchpad in it. And so you may already be starting to see some of the commentary about that. So Antoine showed you how to navigate in touch. So I'm actually going to show you how to navigate with the mouse and then the touchpad. So I'm going to start out first with the mouse. And so you can see I can just do the horizontal scroll. All I was really doing here was using the scroll wheel. You can see I can actually do semantic zoom. We have a nice control down here. It zooms out. I can grab, one of the groups, move it around at will. I can zoom back out. Very, very familiar, comfortable behaviors with the mouse. The corners are special places with the mouse, very, very easy to target, and so we've made use of them. So you can see the charms, and I can come down here through those. And actually on the other side of the screen, we use it to show the other apps that are running, and you can move back and forth between the apps that way. So if you want to show the touchpad, so I'm going to come here, and you see I'm doing a horizontal scroll there, and I'm using my 2 fingers to go back and forth across the touchpad like that. Now I'm going to semantic zoom right now, and I'm going to use the exact same motion you use actually with touch, which is this. And so I'm going to semantic zoom in, and I can just click on a group again, move it around at will, and then I can semantic zoom out, just like that. Now, I wanted to show you one other thing with the touchpad here. And so I have a pinned IE site here, msn.com. And so let's come here, and I wanted to show you actually vertical scrolling. You saw I just went up and down. I'm using, again, my 2 fingers. So the horizontal scrolling, 2 fingers this way, vertical scrolling, 2 fingers this way. And now I'm going to swipe in from the top, and I've brought up the app bar. So all these key input gestures working right here on the touchpad. And, some of the initial feedback on it from certainly some of the bloggers and the online sites is that this is a really nice, comfortable way to kind of bridge between mouse and actually touch. So that's very, very nice there. Now I'm going to swipe in from the side, and now I'm going to go back to the start screen. And so I did that on the touchpad, and then I actually clicked on the start screen with my mouse. And so I actually tend to go back and forth between the input mechanisms, and I use whichever is the most convenient for me, and it happens to be just wherever my hands are sitting at the moment. Now, one of the best things I think about Windows 8 is that the Windows 7 desktop still works just like it always did. The apps still work. You can do the things that you've always done. So you see that I have the apps I use all the time pinned down here on the taskbar. I'm very finicky about how they're arranged, so I have customized the arrangement. You can move them around. And so let's see. The jump list, I'm using the jump list on Word. It works just the same. I'm going to bring up a couple of documents. These happen to be blogs that my team is actually working on. And so I'm going to actually snap these. So this is a feature of Windows 7 that I use all the time, pretty much every day. And our data from customers tells us that many of them do as well. And so you can actually see it works exactly the same. Now, I noticed that I don't have PowerPoint on.